On this edition of Gameball NFL Endzone, I'm going to be talking about the Washington Redskins' next hiring football head coach. We're going to get detailed more of that, as well as two head coaches that have been fired, who would be the good fit for that. In our next subject, we're going to talk about which lower seed team could be dangerous in the playoffs, as well as our forecast wildcard predictions and matchups to go. So stick around. Gameball NFL Endzone coming right now. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. It's your boy Michael Riley, holding out for my brothers who could not be here. Marcus on the West Coast, getting settled in his new place. Luke and I will split the host and timing reps, and he'll still be part of the podcast, coming back and forth, and it will be the three of us back again coming soon. And Luke is on vacation at a ball game between his favorite team, the Kansas State Wildcats, took on Navy as Navy won against his favorite team, the Wildcats. And Luke also did 4 years in the Navy. So shout out to the Navy and salute to everyone, Army, Navy, all over the troops. Salute to y'all as y'all protect our freedoms. I want to say thank you for your services. You're doing your due diligence as well. Hopefully your holiday season go well, and Happy New Year. And let's start off by saying, how about them Cowboys? How about, I told y'all wouldn't make the playoffs. I told y'all wouldn't win division. And that's why I said the Cowboys are a bad luck in the making. And Luke says the Cowboys are America's 8-8. And once again, their record is 8-8. Sitting at home on the chair, on the couch, with the rest of us getting ready to watch the playoffs. So let's get to it with segment number one. The Washington Redskins has hired former Carolina Panthers head coach Ron Rivera, who wins 63-1 in his tenure as the coach of the Carolina Panthers. Was this a good hire? This was a great hire by the Washington Redskins. They finally got some sense into their system and got the good coach. Not everybody else, just the owner. The owner finally seen the light and hired a very good coach, and Ron Rivera, who was let go by the Carolina Panthers, which I still think is a big mistake. But he did won some division championships, as well as Super Bowl appearance. Fell short in Super Bowl 50. In the last few seasons, he didn't make the playoffs and all that other stuff. Didn't win the division, plagued with injuries due to his players. That's something that he can't control. So the owner and the coach have moved on, and the coach is happy to be the Washington Redskins head coach, as well as he should be, because he's going to establish a culture to get him back to winning ways, which I think he'll do very well. He's an old school, no nonsense guy, and willing to adapt to new school, but more likely put the old school imprint in the Washington Redskins. As well as another good news for the Washington Redskins, they also hire defensive coordinator Jack Real to take over the calling spots. He was a former head coach of Oakland Raiders, now serves as the defensive coordinator for the Washington Redskins. So I think give them about 1 or 2 years, they'll be competing They'll be a playoff team, and they'll be back to relevance once they get the staff stuff going, and once the owner puts his imprints on the front office, general manager, president, all that. He cleaned house and fired everybody. He needed to, because they wasn't going nowhere. So they, in the offseason, they need to surround Dwayne Haskins with weapons, offensive linemen, and establish that culture to where they'll get back to the winning ways that haven't had in a long time since RG3. And we know what happened when that went down after his injury, and Shanahan didn't want him to be his quarterback. We all know that. So that's a story for a different day. Overall, this was a great hire. I think Ron Rivera would change the culture and put the winning ways back to the Washington Redskins' relevance. At least make the NFC East a more compellable division in the NFL and all that. So good job on the Washington Redskins part, especially the owner, of finding the right head coach. And Ron Rivera did not waste no time getting his first step. Jack Del Rio is a big name, and he will establish his imprint on the defensive part that'll be relevant defensive again, in my opinion. So overall, this was a good hire by the Washington Redskins. And now part of this segment one, Giants fire coach Pat Shermer. To follow along with that, the Cleveland Browns fire Freddie Kitchens. So who are some coaches that can be a good fit for these teams? Now, what I'm about to say is, before I give my input on the coaches, I am sick and tired of this favoritism stuff going on. It's all about who knows who and who knows what, getting these jobs that should never have been coaching in the first place. We all know Pat Shermer didn't deserve to be the coach of the New York Giants. He was the offensive assistant, worked his way up to the offensive coordinator, a spare of months, and then he put his time in there like it should, like everybody else. And then he went on to be the New York Giants head coach for the past 2 years with losing seasons. They hurry up and got rid of him. And it's about time they did. He should never have the head coaching job from the get-go. Now with Freddie Kitchens, it was also another favoritism. He was an offensive assistant that was jumped in and to the offensive coordinator, then to a head coach because of Baker Mayfield, friendship, this and that. That needs to stop. We all know that Freddie Kitchens should not have had the head coaching job. It should have been Greg Williams, who took over for the other coach from the get-go. He should have had more input on that, but it was the Cleveland Browns that wanted to go with Freddie Kitchens. As a result, it backfired and did not work out the way it wanted to. So I am sick and tired of these long shablons, whatever you want to call it, the Bachelor's reality head coaches show that does not deserve to be a head coach. We all know that Cliff Kingsbury should not have got the Arizona Cardinals job from the get-go. I don't know how he got it. He didn't even go above 500 or win a national title in his coaching career in college. And now he's a coach in the NFL. So that's another subject of another day. Don't get me started on that one. What about the coaches that have established and put their imprints on cultures? The ones that work their way up from the ground up to get into their positions to be head coaches. For instance, Pat McCarthy, who was the Green Bay Packers head coach. He's been off for a year. He's a Super Bowl champion head coach. He has a winning record, but it didn't go well at the end with him, Aaron Rodgers, and the Packers organizations that let him go. So what about hiring him? Or what about hiring Josh McDaniels, whose name has been spreading everywhere, the Patriots offensive coordinator? He was a one-time Denver Broncos head coach. but that didn't go too well. So he went back to New England as an offensive coordinator for some years. Now he established himself as one of the best offensive coordinators. His name's out there for the head coaching job. What about Fred Bieniemy of the Kansas City Chiefs? He's also worked his way up the ranks as an offensive assistant for some years. Then from offensive assistant to running backs coach for some years. Then from running backs coach to the offensive coordinator for 2 or 3 years under Andy Reid's system, all that. He's done a phenomenal job, not only with Alex Smith, now the torch was passed on to Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes is balling. So that shows you right there what type of good head coach he can be, as well as whatever happened to Jim Caldwell, who's once was also a head coach for the Indianapolis Colts, established a winning culture after he took over Tony Dungy. Also Super Bowl appearance, fell short against the Saints. What about the Detroit Lions he was coaching in? He also led them to 2 playoff appearances in 2 seasons. Had one bad year and was kicked out of that because the owner wanted favoritism from the general manager and defensive coordinator for the Patriots. Stop with the favoritism, folks. Let's just stop it. What about hiring coaches that been there and done that as well deserved? You can also make a point for Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, who's done a phenomenal job working his ways up, and has also done a phenomenal job putting offensive plays for Lamar Jackson. That's why they're the highest scoring offense in the NFL. Instead of these favoritism bachelor coaches, whatever, something like that, soap operas, where you want to call it, why don't you hire coaches that know their due diligence, that has been there and want to establish culture? That's what these teams need, especially the Cleveland Browns, overhyped self, saying that they'll make the playoffs. And what do? They went 6-10 again. So the owner has to look himself in the mirror and establish a good coach. The GM, Jim Dorsey, was part race with the Cleveland Browns because him and the owner didn't see eye to eye. So now it's time for the owner to step up and hire him a good coach, as well as front office, and establish winning cultures. Also, the name I left out, what about Marvin Lewis, who was the previous head coach with the Cincinnati Bengals? He was a good head coach by the time that he started, but the last 5 seasons, whatever, how many years in NFL, he has had a losing seasons. He did not get to the postseason the last 5 years. That let him go to the Cincinnati Bengals. Wherever, how many years was that go? And he's never had a playoff win, but he's a pretty good head coach. The Cincinnati was bad. He just had to be go. So what about giving Marvin Lewis another chance at it? I'm just saying, teams need to do their due diligence and find a good head coach that is willing to put in work, that is willing to establish good culture and adapt to the new school as well, but more likely will still put the old school stamp on it. So they need to look at themselves in the mirror, the Giants and the Browns, and say, who we going to have as our next head coach going forward? Because the Washington Redskins already established that. So it's time to deliver a good coach, the Browns and the Giants. The team that really needs a good head coach is going to make me throw up by saying this. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Jason Garrett has to go. He is not it for the Dallas Cowboys. That is Jerry Jones' long lost adopted son. We all know that Jason Garrett should not have been the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys from the get-go. I mean, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, playoff. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, playoff. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8. It's a repeating pattern over and over and over again. So the Dallas Cowboys really need a head coach. And Jerry Jones, please put your ego aside, but likely it's not going to happen. So if Jason Garrett is still the head coach by the Dallas Cowboys, this stuff's going to continue to happen. I'm just sorry. So I hate to say and do that, but the Dallas Cowboys needs to let Jason Garrett go. And his time there is up, and he has not delivered a winning season for the past 2 years. That will do it for the first segment of Gameball NFL Endzone. When I come back, we're going to talk about which lower seed team could be dangerous in the playoffs. So stick around. Gameball NFL Endzone coming right up. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone segment number 2. Which lower seed team could be dangerous in the playoffs? Could it be the Bills? Could it be the Titans? Could it be the Vikings? Or could it be the Seahawks? Now, the Buffalo Bills has had an excellent season. They have one of the top tier defenses in the NFL, but their offense sometimes can be inconsistent. So will we see the offense that'll rise, or will we see the offense that'll fall? They'll play the Houston Texans coming up this week. The Tennessee Titans, man, they got a strong running game to go along with that defense. I mean, they've been balling as of lately, winning 2 of their last 3, putting up numbers on the ground and putting up points as well. And they'll be a very tough opponent for New England to handle. I'll talk about that. The team that I'm leaning towards on that could potentially be a threat to win it all is the Seattle Seahawks. Do not count out the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, they're a wild card team, but we have seen this before in the past. There's been some wild card teams that have went on to the conference championship and has also won Super Bowls, dating back to 2010. Last time a wild card team won the Super Bowl was the Green Bay Packers. They were the number 6 seed team, and they went on to win the Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was once upon a time ago, but anything can happen. So I'm leaning towards the Seahawks because you got Russell Wilson, MVP candidate, who is balling. So you can never count them out. And their defense is playing a little bit better, but they've been decimated with injuries, but they expect to get some guys back. Offensively, they've been injured with running backs. All their running backs went on IR. They had to get Turbin back off the street, as well as bringing back Beast Mode, who's been on the street, and he scored a touchdown. So if they could get that running back position together, get that going, get that clicking, and lean on towards Russell Wilson, making plays offensively and defense, making plays, getting critical turnovers, get the offense back the ball to their hands so they can score, and anything's possible. So I like the Seahawks. Now for the Vikings, they got a good defense, but I question their offense. Which offense are we going to see? Are we going to see Kirk Cousins that can put up numbers and lead his team to wins, or are we going to see Kirk Cousins from the Washington Redskins that struggles? So it's been inconsistent between Kirk Cousins in this season. Sometimes you have good Kirk Cousins, sometimes you have bad Kirk Cousins. But his second season with the Vikings, he did get to the playoffs, so that's good from there. And Dalvin Cook is supposed to be back in this game from his injury. So that is a big booster for that offense. Defense has been slacking lately. They've been inconsistent. I wonder what's been happening. Is there been an APB out for him? I don't know. So which Vikings defense is going to show up? They are very good, talented defense, but the last few games they've been inconsistent. And so I'm leaning towards the Seahawks. They could be a dangerous team, as well as the Titans could be a dangerous team. Now, the Titans, defensively, they can ball with the best of them. They're very physical. They get running down their team's throats with a running game, and their offensive line is very physical. They're hungry. They play smash mouth football. They're aggressive. And Ryan Tannehill has rejuvenated his career. He's been balling ever since Marcus Mariota was benched. So, can he do that against the Patriots this weekend? I'll talk about that. But sometimes Ryan Tannehill can be inconsistent as well. He's also gets sacked more times than any other quarterback in the NFL. So, if he steps up big against the Patriots, that is huge. So, I'm leaning towards the Seahawks being number 1, Titans number 2, Vikings number 3, Bills number 4. Overall, my top 2 is the Seahawks, and the Titans could be a potential threat to make some noise in the playoffs. And that will do it for the second segment. Coming up in the third segment, I will talk about the Wildcard weekend forecast matchup. Don't go anywhere. Stick around. Gameball NFL Endzone coming right up. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Segment number 3, the Wildcard weekend forecast, matchups, and predictions. Let's get to it with the first matchup. The Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. The Buffalo Bills is looking for their first playoff win since 1995. That's been a very, very long time. And the Bills have a top 10 defense in the NFL, but the offense has been inconsistent sometimes. But they're coming along, and give Sean McDermott credit. Ever since taking over the Buffalo Bills, he has established his culture, his imprint. They're buying into it, and they are a contender in the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. So give it up to Sean McDermott. He's also the candidate for the NFL Coach of the Year. And Houston, Texas, sometimes they're consistent and they're inconsistent. Their offense, it's just been up and down all season, but they won their division and still made it to playoffs. They was trade deadline with the offensive lineman shuffle and all this other stuff. They found a way to make it work at times, and sometimes it's been decimated. But on defense, they get J.J. Watt back, who's coming off from an injury he tore in the season with his pectoral and all that. So they get a big boost coming out of that. So that being said, let's break this down. If the Buffalo Bills offense can be consistent and not turn the ball over, score on touchdown opportunities, then field goals. If Josh Allen can find a way to be consistent in the passing game, make some key throws, be accurate with throwing the ball, we all know that their defense is going to do their thing. But the question is, the offense. So if the offense can step up to go along with that defense, they'll be fine. For the Houston Texans, you have to get off to the hot start against this defense. You have to move the ball, and you cannot have any mistake. One mistake can cost you the game. Now, for defense, going against a young quarterback, you got to make them fragile. You got to cause confusion. You got to mix with zone. You got to mix with man, blitzes, and all that other stuff. So if the Houston Texans can find a way to do that and be successful offense, defense, special teams, they'll get that win at home and move on to the Baltimore Ravens in the playoffs. Now, playoff number 2, the Tennessee Titans versus the New England Patriots. The Tennessee Titans, they have a lot to play for. Of course they have a lot to play for, but they're going to a very hostile environment with some confidence because last week, New England Patriots did not look like New England Patriots. They were exposed offense and defense, and I'll talk about that. Now, Tennessee Titans offense cannot have any mistakes at all because what New England is good at doing, especially in the playoffs, is letting you make the mistakes. So if you can minimize the mistakes offensively and the offensive line can protect Ryan Tannehill in the pocket and run the ball down the Patriots' throat, play smash mouth physical football, and defense be aggressive against Tom Brady, double up Julian Edelman, force Tom Brady to go different ways and get Tom Brady off a spot in the pocket, the Tennessee Titans have a chance to get the biggest upset in the playoffs in Foxborough. Now, for the Patriots, offensively, we all know it hasn't been the best in the season since week 2 against the Dolphins. And it's just been up and down. But they are 13-3 for a reason. And their offense last week, it wasn't their best performance at all. And Tom Brady just threw a bad ball that was picked off and was scored for a touchdown. And the defense was highly exposed and gave up too many yards against the Dolphins and just let Ryan Fitzpatrick look like a star, for crying out loud. I mean, it's like a second coming of John Elway or Dan Marino, for that matter. So if they can find a way to fix their mistakes defensively, then they'll have a chance to rebound and get the win at home. Now, Minnesota versus New Orleans Saints. This is a very exciting matchup to watch. I mean, top 10 defense, top 10 offense. Which one's he going to go? Minnesota Vikings, they need to step up. Offense especially. David Cook's coming back. They need to run the ball effectively. They need to win the time of possession. And the Minnesota Vikings can minimize mistakes offensively if Kirk Cousins can be consistent enough in the passing game and the offense can win time of possession, they'll have a chance to win this game. Now, defense is going to have to step up big against the against the New Orleans Saints offense, because we all know the New Orleans Saints can put up points. So can the defense slow them down? If the defense can find a way to slow them down, they'll win this game. Now, for the Saints offensively, they have to be aggressive. They got to find a way to get off to a hot start early. If they can do that, be the first ones to score points, there's pretty much a nail in the coffin. We all know what Al Kamara do. We all know what Michael Thomas can do. But let's watch out for the trick plays for Taysom Hill, the quarterback slash running back slash wide receivers, just Mr. Do-It-All guy. I mean, it's exciting to watch him because he could be the wildcat in the center in the offense with the running plays as well as be a threat in the passing game. So if the Saints can score points with the first offensive possession, this game is over. Now the defense is going to come to play, but if the defense can find a way to make Minnesota's offense one-dimensional, then the defense will do its job. Last but not least, the Seattle Seahawks versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a very good matchup, but I do kind of have a question to ask. Should the team with the better record than the division winners, say like the Philadelphia Eagles who were 9-7 and the Seahawks have a better record, shouldn't the Seahawks have a home game instead of the Philadelphia Eagles? I'll let you think about that in that thought. We'll talk about that for another day. But let's break down this matchup. The Seattle Seahawks. Offensively, we know what Russell Wilson can do. If they could get the running game going and the offensive line can find a way to protect Russell Wilson in the pocket in the passing game and keep it clean, and the receivers can step up big, and Seattle will do their job offensively. Now, their defense is a big question mark because we all know the defense can ball, but it's been some hits with some injuries and all that. If the defense can step up big, force the Eagles to be one-dimensional offense, force Carson Wentz to beat you, because he doesn't have very good receivers. We all know that. He just has Zach Ertz. And so if he can find a way to do that, then the Seattle Seahawks can win this game on the road. With the Philadelphia Eagles, they have had some struggles the parts of the season and some bad losses. But when it came down to it, they found a way for it to get it done. Credit to Doug Peterson, the head coach for the Eagles. It wasn't pretty at times, but he got his players to buy in, and he found a way to get it done, to get the wins that he needed, and there are NFC East champions for a reason. So if the offense can establish a running game early, and Howard is expected to come back, which give this offense a big boost, then they'll be able to do their thing, score points, and get the win at home. For the defense, this is critical for the defense. They stepped up big against Dallas, and they stepped up big against the Giants, except for they were running wild, but the game is already scored and said and done. And that led the Eagles scoring over 27 points. So if the defense can be aggressive and stop the Seattle Seahawks offense from scoring points, then the defense did its job and they can win this game. Now it's time for our favorite, the prediction picks. The Buffalo Bills versus the Houston Texans. I'm going with the upset alert. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills over the Houston Texans to move on to playoffs. It just seems like the last few times the Texans has been to the playoffs, it's been a repeat pattern. And history repeats itself. They can't get over the hump in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills to win on the road and get it done against the Houston Texans. I must say it'll be a low-scoring affair. I'm going to say the Texans get it done 20-17. And Luke has the Houston Texans beating the Buffalo Bills. Now, the next game, the Tennessee Titans, New England Patriots. The Patriots been hearing about it all week long. They're not good enough. The dynasty is dead. Tom Brady's old. Blah, 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 blah. And another motivator. The New England Patriots was clear of the scandal, camera cheating, whatever you want to call it, of taping the Bengals. The NFL has found no wrongdoing for New England Patriots, who were accused of taping the Cincinnati Bengals sideline. So that will give them more motivation, add more fuel to the fire. So I'm saying the Patriots will win at home. It'll be an ugly win, but they'll get it done at home. I'm going to say 30-24, the Patriots get it done at home. And Luke has picked the New England Patriots to win and move on the playoffs. Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints. Who that said gonna beat them Saints? Nobody. I'm going with the Saints to win at home, as well as Luke picks the Saints. Remember that Minnesota miracle that happened a couple years back? That still has not got over them well. And this is a rematch when it counts. And I think it won't be no miracles this time unless something happen. I could be wrong, but I don't see it happening. The Saints offense and defense, too much for the Minnesota Vikings. And they'll put up points, and I think Minnesota's not going to respond well. So I picked the New Orleans Saints to win at home. And that don't. I'm going to say 41-28. The Saints get it done and move on. The Seattle Seahawks versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a tough one. Luke has chosen the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even though I did say Seahawks could be a dangerous team moving on to playoffs, I just like the Philadelphia Eagles at home. They're clicking at the right time. Their mojo is going. And everybody's on the same page. Doug Peters has found a way, unorthodox, to get his players to buy in the system for the last few weeks. Found a way to make some changes and adjustments to score points. And the defense has been shut down people. So I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagles win against Seattle Seahawks. It's going to come down to who has the last possession. So I'm going to say this one 24-17. The Eagles gets it done against the Seattle Seahawks and moves on to the playoffs. And that will do it for this edition of Gameball NFL Endzone. You can follow your boy on this platform, social media outlets. On this side, it'll be your right side. My right to your left to your right, vice versa. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Gmail, YouTube. Thank you for supporting us since day one. This won't be done without you, all the fans that support us. So thank you. You can also get on our clothing line website at gameballshop.equid.com. That's gameballshop.equid.com. That's ECWID then.com. Also, don't forget to get on our official website at gck-gnfle.com. That's gck-gnfle.com. You can also forget our other brother, Marcus Young Jenkins. You can follow him on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all in one word, Jovel ENT, and do not forget the underscore. You can't forget our other brother Luke, who also could be here. Facebook, Instagram as Luke Harnett, and on Twitter as Luke Harnett 2, because he's the real Luke Harnett, folks. I'm Michael Riley. This is Gameball NFL Endzone, where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out. See you next time. And Happy New Year!